to the comic shop. I'll let you read about Cyclops. I'll have you spending all you got. Jawbreakers is looking hot. Zach.
All right, let's roll it. Here we go. Big Legit back in the house, ready to talk to all of you about comic books that move the needle. That's what this is all about here on the Testosterone Overload. And today I am very excited to share another comic book from my youth. And this comic book really might be the best story Image Comics ever put out. You know, a lot of people love Spawn. I'm one of those people. I love Spawn too. But there's something very, very special about Jim Valentino's Shadowhawk. Now this is the standard cover. This would be like, you know, the silver embossed foil, whatever type of cover, you know, everything in shiny, sleek silver, like tin foil. And it's beautiful. This is just the standard edition because I could pick this up for $1 at a comic shop and share it with you. And you can see that the spine is all cracked and bent, but that doesn't matter. You know, in 1992, when this comic book came out, in fact, it came out in August of 92, that would be, you know, infuriating to anyone. No one would want this comic book, you know, in the speculative market because, oh, this is going to be worth $5,000 in just like 6 months and I won't be able to sell it. And actually, not this one, but the silver foil embossed mega cover was up there at like, you know, like $20, $25 if you wanted a copy of Shadowhawk #1. And I have that Shadowhawk #1, but I'm not going to bust it out here. So I just went and picked up a cheap one with, you know, the spine all busted. Because who cares? Because what matters really is this is a good story. And I can pass this on to someone else and let them read it, and it's a good story. I'm going to tell you right now, this is a comic book meant for people 12 and up. And it is a comic book that absolutely, positively did move the needle back in 1992. And I fell in love with this. And what's really neat about it is you start out, Soho, one of the most dilapidated sections of the city. Soho, south of Houston Street, just this side of hell. Yo, Holmes, check it out. I see it. Let's have some fun. Oh, let's have us some fun. Excuse me. Your kind of place. Yo, Mr. Homeless Man, hold on up there. We want to talk to you. Say, maybe you didn't hear the brother none too good. He said he wants to talk. Whack! You heard. Your silence is a weapon. They fear it, even as they fear you. Don't hurt me, man. Please, don't hurt me. And he runs like a coward. Shadowhawk doesn't care. He turns to run. He won't escape you that easily. None of them will. Crack! His spinal column snaps like a twig. You are Shadowhawk. Okay. Check this out. Shadowhawk, sort of a combination of Batman and the Punisher. He's a vigilante. He doesn't kill. He breaks spinal columns and puts people in wheelchairs. He cripples criminals so that no matter what happens, and usually he talks about this somewhere here, you know, the cops show up, they question, you know, who is he? Who is Shadowhawk? That's the big question. Who is Shadowhawk? This comic is so cool because it's a character and we don't know who his secret identity is. It might be a guy, it might be a girl. I'm guessing by the muscles that it's a guy, a buff stud. The blood drips in red rivulets from your armor. It will cake and flake off of you. The memory of this night will never leave them. He is a nightmare walking, psychopath talking, king of the streets. You know he's into something. It's a song. You know that no matter what the courts decide, whether they set them free on a technicality or lock them up and throw away the key, you know that thanks to you, those punks will be in prison. The prison of their broken bodies. For the rest of their lives. We gotta find this guy, Captain. Can't fix a broken back, bud. I'll tell you what we've got to do. You got to get your butt up to Harlem. But Captain, no buts. Someone's torching the place. And I want you and your deadbeat partner on it. So basically, we have no idea who this guy is. He's just out there, you know, slaying criminals. Well, not slaying criminals, breaking their backs. Very dastardly of him. Batman would never do that, but the Punisher definitely would. That's why I say he's kind of somewhere in between the two greatest vigilantes of all time, Batman and the Punisher, Frank Castle. Arson is just burning down villages for fun, and then I love this part. A doggy, a cute little Pekingese. Come here, boy. Come here, little pooch. Yep. Ah, don't you worry none. I couldn't hurt no cute little pooch like you. So he's willing to burn down a house filled with people, an apartment complex filled with people, but he's not going to hurt a dog. Typical supervillain. And then you got Hojo and Paul here talking about what's going on, you know, and this is kind of interesting. You got it just in time, my man. There goes another one. That's the third one this week. Yup, the man is hell-bent on burning us out, brother. Aw, Hojo, that's just the pipe talking. Maybe, maybe not. But that don't necessarily mean it ain't true. Look, I used to be a DA, and used to, Mr. Paul Johnstone. That's the operative word. You gave up because of the man. Oh, I get it. You gave up because of the man. That's not quite accurate, Hojo. Just like I used to be a Wall Street broker. So, you know, here we go. They talk a little bit more. Arson is, you know, in secret, he's a New York Fire Department firefighter maybe, or is he just, you know, this is a disguise. It's the perfect disguise for a pyromaniac. Oh, appearance by Youngblood, there it is. Uh-oh. Anyway. So, like, you know, this homeless lady is, like, walking through the streets. Maybe she's not homeless. Maybe she just looks like a bag lady. That's what we called those when I was a kid. This was what we would refer to as a bag lady. It's different than a bum. It's a bag lady. A lady who carries around bags in a cart. And she comes across these criminals selling drugs. You boys are not going to sell that crack on my street. I said, back off or you're going to get hurt. Don't you sass me, boy. Hits him with this umbrella like she's the Penguin. You're going to die for that, old woman. And guess who shows up? My boy Shadowhawk. The bullets bounce off, and it's kind of cool because he speaks in first person, so it's almost like you are Shadowhawk. It's like I am Shadowhawk. But he's Shadowhawk, but you are Shadowhawk. And so, anyways, this story continues. They introduce more characters. Vendetta. Ooh, super sexy Vendetta. This is a female crime boss, which I really appreciate that they made an attractive woman who shows off her bra. Like, you know, it's kind of like... This reminds me of the Madonna Express Yourself video. Maybe it's no, maybe not Express Yourself. Maybe it was Vogue. Yeah, Vogue. Go look it up on YouTube. You're already on YouTube. Look up Madonna's Vogue video. I think that's... No, it's Express... Oh, I can't remember. It's been too long, guys. It's just been too long since the 90s, since Madonna was, you know, attractive for a slut. Anyway, so, you know, our boy Arson shows up, kisses her hand, but then, you know, like, reminds her, you know, that he knows that she's Vendetta and not just, you know, a chick named Ms. Bold. Ms. Bold. MS period is Ms. Not Mrs. and not Miss. It's a mysterious land that lies beneath. This is the first step in feminism, was to stop calling yourself Mrs. Bold or Miss Bold and go by Ms. Bold. So anyways, you know, the cops, they get a lead on Shadowhawk, and they're going to take him down, but he uses his shuriken. Shuriken. I just like to say it. Shuriken. It's not as fun to say as nunchuck stick. I would have made him use his nunchuck sticks, but he doesn't have nunchuck sticks. So he's got to use his shuriken. Always made me think of Ryu, like when he yells out in Street Fighter 2, Shuriken! That's what I always thought he was yelling. What did you think he was yelling? Tell me in the comments below. So anyways, you know, Shadowhawk barely gets out of here. And things begin to increase. You know, there's kind of this like quasi-lesbian thing going on here. Oh, no, I wasn't Jamie. May I call you Jamie? But we are tense, aren't we, Jamie? And we get, oh, and she likes it, actually. Well, there's this vigilante on the loose. You don't have to wait very long. A scream tears through the city. Someone is being mugged, or raped, or worse. It is your call to arms. You are Shadowhawk, and you're taking back the night. Here we have this beautiful artwork from Jim Valentino. I love Jim Valentino's artwork. It is kind of it is kind of like that older style that you saw from the legends of the 70s and 80s, but definitely updated, definitely meant to pull you in. A really good blend of old and new artwork. And this is a comic book that blew my mind when I was a kid. I'll take you through it real quick, let you see the other stuff here. Oh, the others, you know. Clone, he kind of looks all right. The rest look generic. This looks like a Youngblood member. And the rest is just, I don't know, too weak for me. Clone kind of looks interesting, though. What we got here? Taking it to the extreme. Brigade. With this cover. I don't think I've ever seen that cover. Youngblood. Uh-oh. Pit by Dale Keown. You know, issue number 1. A year later, issue number 2. But he made his million. So anyways, oh, there's Jim's first drawing of Shadowhawk. Note the difference in the shoulder blades. I don't see much of a difference, like a sharper angle. That's it. No comment. Oh, X-Men. How about that? See? Wizard bought this, put X-Men in an image book. That's kind of crazy. Who is Shadowhawk? Could he be the most obvious person? Lieutenant Jax? Or the least? Hojo? Is he black or white, male or female, tall or short? Who is Shadowhawk? He's not talking, and neither are we. Over the course of this 4-issue finite series, we will introduce you to a number of individuals who might be Shadowhawk. There will be clues, but not too many, and by issue number 4, we may even be able to eliminate 1 or 2 persons from the suspects list. And then again, who is Shadowhawk? It's up to you, the reader, to decipher the clues and to tell us just what you think he is. Just who you think he is. And that's the whole premise of Shadowhawk. And that is exactly why it moved the needle. Other than the great art, it was absolutely a fantastic story. When you compare it to, you know, like a Youngblood number 1, where the story was really kind of nonsensical, Jim Valentino had a very clear vision for Shadowhawk, and the vision didn't last for years. You know, they've tried to revamp Shadowhawk numerous times over the years, and I don't think it matters, and I don't think it's ever going to really work that great, because this is Shadowhawk, and this story was clearly in Jim Valentino's brain as a complete story, and that's what he told. And so what I would recommend to you is that you get your shoes on and you get your butt to your local comic shop and you climb into the back issue bins and you dig, you hunt, you dig to the S's, you find Shadowhawk. You buy Shadowhawk Volume 1, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. You should be able to get all 4 of them for $2 to $4. But before you leave that comic shop, keep going in that Shadowhawk, keep digging in that back issue bin. Find Shadowhawk 2. Okay, it's called, it's not issue 2. Listen to me. Shadowhawk 2. I, you know, Roman numerals. Shadowhawk 2. That's 3 issues. It is the second miniseries. And so what you will get is you will get the entire story of Shadowhawk. Well, not the entire story of Shadowhawk, but you will find out who Shadowhawk is. At the end of those 7 issues, you will know who Shadowhawk is, and you will have a great time reading it. It is probably like a great way to spend 2 to 2.5 hours of your day is reading the first 2 Shadowhawk miniseries. Shadowhawk, issue 1 through 4, and Shadowhawk 2, issue 1 through 3. There's some guest appearances. You know, you'll see the Savage Dragon in there. You saw a little spot by Youngblood here. Spawn might show up. But what you're really going to get is you're going to get a story that is extremely well crafted and keeps you guessing. You know, we don't get to find, you know, it's not Peter Parker. You know, it's not Clark Kent. It's not Bruce Wayne. We don't know who it is. And that's kind of the appeal of it, is not only are you getting violence, which is great, not only are you having to deal with drug issues, which is great, you know, that's why I'm saying this is for boys 12 and up, because they need to learn how to deal with those kind of issues and see what happens when you're a no-good drug addict like Hojo. They need to see, you know, why you do or do not take the law into your own hands. They need to be informed that there is corruption in government. No matter what some people might want you to believe, government is not your savior. Not even close. You are government's savior. And so that's why I highly, highly recommend Shadowhawk, because of the great story, the great art. I just keep going back to that story because it's so phenomenal, and you just don't get a lot of comics that are like that. Really, a lot of comics end up turning into a soap opera where there is no resolution. There are no actual stories and conclusions. There's nothing that's solved. But you're guaranteed when you go into the back issue bin at your local comic shop and you pick up Shadowhawk miniseries number 1 and Shadowhawk miniseries 2, 7 measly little issues, you're going to end up with a great story. And you might want to continue on to Shadowhawk 3 and then into the ongoing series, which is all kind of an ongoing series, but not really. I like how Jim broke it up by miniseries, and it kind of keeps you interested and keeps you going. I wish more comics would do that nowadays. And maybe they are, but I think that they're doing it nowadays more because they can't even complete their run on a miniseries because it's not an interesting enough story, it's not popular enough, or the art is very weak compared to the art back then. And this art is not, you know, some phenomenal showcase by, you know, David Finch. But it certainly tells the story very clearly and very simply. But it's nice. It's nice. It's totally professional. This is a pro. Jim Valentino is a pro. And Shadowhawk is going to blow your mind if you've never read it before. If you have a 12-year-old in your family or a 13-year-old in your family, give it to him or her when you're done. Probably him. Typically it's boys that read comics, despite what, you know, gatekeepers may tell you. And that kid's going to love it too, because it is a mystery that you unravel and you get to take guesses and try to figure out on your own. Who is Shadowhawk? So check it out. This is a comic that no doubt back in the early 90s, it did hashtag move the needle. Even though we didn't hashtag anything back then, it still moved the needle. And that's what comics need to do again. So if you are a young writer, this is something you want to read. If you are an artist who has trouble writing, this is something you need to read to up your game, to get you to that next level where you want to be. Jim Valentino's work on Shadowhawk can do that for you, brother, for you. Trust me. I'm not going to talk about crappy comics, and when I do, I'm going to tell you it's a crappy comic. This is not. This is one of the most enduring Image comics in my time as a collector. It's one that, you know, here we are 25 years later, and I'm talking about it because I've remembered it so well. It should be a 2-season or 3-season miniseries on Netflix. It's that good. So anyways, tell me what your thoughts are on Shadowhawk in the comments below. Tell me what your favorite Image comic book was in the comments below. Please give a like. Please subscribe. Hit the ding dong for notifications. I'll see you next time with another amazing comic book that blew my mind as a teenage boy. All right, peace.